Here. Let's go. This. What's going on, everybody? It is Kane. It is afraid you should know that this is the most hated Ohio State thing on the planet. How's it going, everybody? I know it's been a while and I apologize. I've been extremely busy, but hey, I'm back and I'm here. So I think that's pretty good to say that I'm back and new profile update. Shout out to Zach Bourne of the Bourne Brothers for for the awesome autograph I received from you. So big shout out to Zach and all of them. So I'm doing well, everybody. I'm hoping everybody is enjoying. So we have finally have heard the news that the Olympics is coming to a close. Well, with the Olympics coming to a close, uh, I think it's pretty clear that I think it's pretty clear that, you know, with the Winter Olympics being over, um, ooh, I really lost my train of thought here, folks, and um, holy cow, I'm a little hard time speaking, so oof. Um, I really don't know what I was gonna say today, other than that I'm excited for Ohio State football is opening up for their boot camp, and I am pumped to see what the Buckeyes got planned for their winter boot camp uh, for all their uh, oh god, I really having something. Oh, I really, really had a lot I was gonna say today, but I lost. Other than the fact I really do not like the scumbags, they really are a pain in the butt. Um, but other than that, I really am just pumped for the off season, and let alone, um, what's gonna go on uh, in all the cases of that. But I will say, with that being said, um, I really am just woo. Other than life's good, and I'm really having a good time and everything else, and life's been treating me right, and I can't complain about none of that. Um, but I'll be back in just a minute here, folks. So give me one moment. Alrighty, I am back. I am sorry about that. Hold up. But you know what? There was a particular time on here that I was like, well, shoot. But at the same time, like I said, with the Olympics being over, I feel like that this is now the time that we're really starting to notice, like, oh, hey, um, this is really starting to be off more of like what I've been used to on this whole entire network is just the straight up, oh, this is so entertaining, or this is so, so and so. But I feel like with that, it's more of, say, I don't know how to put it out. Um, Other than the fact then that oh, speaking of which, follow me on X at K the Diesel Freak. You guys know what's going on. Twitter, that's K the Diesel Freak on Twitter. So be sure to check me out on Twitter. Um, with that, um, um, what did I have in mind? Oh, breaking news. I was gonna say something otherwise, but um, what was it? Oh, of course, the Olympics were just absolutely ridiculous. But Team USA winning was, I think, one of the more memorable moments. Oh, speaking of which, we got someone. The first time I'd say this guy back on my channel since I had a little bit of some delays. But Dale Gygax, the College Football Mafia, my good friend. How are you, sir?
The first time in history, the men's and women's U.S. hockey team won a gold medal. Not bad.
You know what, Daniel? You just said a fact correctly about the USA Olympics. I literally forgot, and I'm like, because I've been watching the majority of the Olympics, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's a lot going on.
I always use this stat, uh, especially whenever playoff time happens for hockey. It is more recently an American-based team won the Canadian Football League 1995 Baltimore Stallions than the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup, 1993 Montreal's Club de Hockey Canadien. Yeah, that tells you a lot.
Yeah, and with the overtime loss for Canada, I really said that. Yeah, that was the real turnabout there when they scored that goal in overtime. And then the other thing is, it's not only the Winter Olympics, the Summer Olympics are also returning, and Team USA is really going to be representing the Summer Olympics with soccer and basketball, which I say it's going to be pretty interesting because a lot of the other good teams, in the World Cup, in the Olympics for soccer especially, um, are really going to be something interesting.
World Cups, a couple of those World Cup games are going to be played down in San Jose where the Super Bowl is. Our price tickets, I ain't going. That is stupid and expensive. In 94, whenever they had the World Cup here in America, I was at Travis Air Force Base, and I can't remember how many tickets showed up to Travis Air Force Base. They were playing at Stanford Stadium. And at the time, Stanford Stadium sat like 80,000 and change. I don't remember the exact amount.
80,000.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember. But they were giving away tickets for games down in San Jose or Stanford. They're at Palo Alto. This year, I don't think that they're going to be giving away too many games because it is stupid expensive to go down to San Jose to watch them play those World Cup games.
Oh, it's not only just how extensive they are, it's let alone just the market for the soccer games, especially for the World Cup, who's playing, because it's a lot of high athletes and a lot of high talented athletes. Let alone these guys are signed to multi-million-dollar contracts with some of the most like famous teams in Europe, some of the clubs in the MLS. Let alone they've got a lot of big brand deals with like Nike, Adidas. Human Sung, one of the key players who signed to Adidas, is part of the Los Angeles Football Club. I was speaking with some soccer fans yesterday, and they seem pretty pumped that he's also going to be playing in the World Cup with Team USA. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
I know. What was it? Well, that was an absolute joke. The 2022 World Cup that was in Qatar. Of course, they did that in December because they had to, because it's blistering hot. But it really kind of wrecked part of the European soccer season, like the late soccer season. And FIFA, just to get buy-in from like the from all these European leagues, had to guarantee X amount of the purse to let you know. FIFA kind of lost money with the with Qatar.
The deal with Qatar.
I mean, let's put it this way. The country of Qatar, I would put in place, I bet you Cuyahoga County or Franklin County has more people in it, more citizens in it, I should say.
They do.
And it's hold on. Now I'm going to have to look before I say how big it is. I know it's not that big of a country. It is actually a little bigger than I thought. It's 4,400 square miles. So let's tack in, I don't know. Let's tack in Cleveland Metro. Let's throw in Akron and Canton into the size of that. You're not going to do a World Cup in Cleveland, but they bought one. They bought a World Cup. Whenever the World Cup here, the only thing they have to do is paint locker rooms, put grass down, and go up to the press box and make sure that all the food up there is higher quality than what they do for an NFL game. I mean, let's get right down to it. I mean,
yeah,
you've already got the existing infrastructure. You already got the buildings. That there is the big part.
You also have not even just the building, but you also have a lot of the commentator teams that are going to be translating a lot of the games for a lot of those across the world because of, how many countries are going to be represented in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, 2022 World Cup also, that in Qatar, Saudi Arabia.
Nope, not Saudi Arabia, only Qatar.
So excuse me, Qatar,
KSA is KSA is different, separate. I've been to both. Don't ask; they both suck.
Qatar was in December. I mean, a lot of people that were there, like most of the time that I've seen, were mostly Croatian fans and Argentinian fans, because, and then let alone, a lot of people were talking about, like internet people that rooted for teams in Qatar, and a lot of the athletes that also went to the games in Qatar. That was insane of how it blew up, especially with Lionel Messi announcing that that was his final, I believe, World Cup that he was winning with Team Argentina. But
Sounds about right. You want to know how much I follow international soccer? Ain't a lot.
yeah,
I
but
just thought it was interesting where the way FIFA works is they have to rotate between continents, and where Qatar is in Asia, it kind of screwed China because China was going to bid on the 2026
World Cup.
World Cup, and they got kind of screwed in the whole ordeal compared to where they gave it to America because we're like, we don't have to spend a single penny. We repaint locker rooms almost every single
Year.
all season anyway. We go through the press boxes every single year. I think the only expenses, and somebody was explaining it to me with what the Niners play at down in San Jose. The only expenses that they really have to account for is that they have to put they have to lay down grass in the off season. Usually they really don't put grass down until about July. So that right there is the only expense that they have for the Niners. A couple other things. We are talking. Here, puppy.
Sorry, that was my dog. Hold on. Dale, take over the show for me for just a second.
Okay. So let's talk to NFL. Reports came out this morning. I do not have it here with me right now. Reports came out this morning that the NFL is going to put all their stuff on streaming, or put a ton of games on streaming. Hold on, let me pull this up. Oh, no, I can't get it to come up. Hold on. Here we go. It states, this is John Kleiman, or Dov Kleiman. The NFL is reportedly adding more games exclusively to Netflix, Amazon, and YouTube, potentially giving each platform its own 5-game package. To let you know that right there is going to be an issue. Not just for this is going to be an issue. Just due to the fact that it's going to take some revenue off the board. How much revenue? I don't know. Nobody knows. With that being said, we know Big Ten still, their deal is up in 2029. We know the SEC still has a couple years to go. We know that the Big 12 is up in 2031. With all that being said, we don't know who's going to go where. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You tell me what the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill is going to do in this realignment moves. I can fill in every other piece of the chessboard to tell you who's doing what. The problem is that even if UNC announces tomorrow, hey, we're going to the Big Ten, or hey, we're going to the SEC, we're still looking quite a number of years out before anything really, really happens. I don't think that we're going to see a collapse. Everybody that's utterly panicked, don't panic. As the opening line to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy goes, don't panic. I'm not. I've seen it before. And we'll see it again. What can we do? Nothing. And we're discussing, whenever we start discussing what happens, we're going to have to remember that real people are involved. We do have to remember that.
Okay, that
we do have to. Yeah.
Over.
Had to take the pooch outside.
I thought I had a package delivered, and I had to make sure that it was a guy was confused, and it was going to a different address. So he thought our address was the stop. So
okay, I've got a screen to share there. It's talking about the NFL. There we go. The NFL is talking about going to give more games up to streaming. I get it. I understand.
The NFL's got a broad audience, especially across the pond there in England and Europe.
Well, I don't know exactly how they still do, because international rights, let's say the rights holder for X event, let's say the rights holder for Monday Night Football in Europe is still ESPN Worldwide. They are shown in Europe and some Asian countries. So let's say that all of a sudden Monday Night Football is going to be carried by like Netflix or Amazon or whoever. Does ESPN sit there and say, okay, you could show all the stuff that you want to show in the States on Amazon, but we still hold the worldwide exclusive broadcast rights? And it gets super complicated. Bob Thompson's explained it before, and about midway through it, because rights for this, that, or whatever, it gets super complicated, because you're now dealing with multiple different companies. Like here in the States, you're dealing with one entity. Let's say you're in Brussels, Belgium, and you live in France on the border of Belgium. Well, you're going to end up getting some of the bleed over from just broadcasts, for one. Number two, you might end up getting bleed over from the cable networks. It just depends on how the contract is written. We don't know. We have no idea.
No, I agree, Daniel, and and I was gonna say honestly, with the whole deal with how they're gonna do everything. Yeah, I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, I know it's gonna be good for the broad audience. Especially those that watch the NFL. Um, you know, across the globe, but also uh, like around the world also.
No, international, like I said, international rights get fuzzy. And whenever you're talking okay, you have rights to broadcast blank. Usually it gives a geographic designation to where you can broadcast in. I get it. I understand. Now that we're talking about Netflix, Amazon, and YouTube being a part of this, I'm glad they didn't say Apple. Because all three of them have very large international reaches. I've been on my show. We've talked about Apple TV a couple of times, and Apple TV is proprietary. Yes, you can get an Apple TV subscription without having an Apple device. Here's where things get weird. Most of the people that have Apple subscriptions, Apple TV subscriptions, they originally had like the 1 month or 3-month free subscription whenever you buy like a new iPad, iPhone, computer, whatever. You get the idea. And they'll just go ahead and keep it. The problem that you have is that most people, after they go through what they want to see on Apple TV, just go ahead and dump their paid subscription. Go back to soccer. Major League Soccer is getting killed because nobody watches them, because a good chunk of it's on Apple TV, and Apple TV overpaid to get it, and Apple TV's got more cash than they know what to do with. I don't know what the market value is of Cupertino, but we're talking a lot. So would they be a player? I don't know.
No, and I also agree with you, Daniel, and I can say honestly, with everything that you said, like it's insane. But here's my other thing, Daniel. Speaking of soccer, uh but speaking of all my friends in soccer, let me also recall the viral moments from Qatar that somebody actually just mentioned to me not that long ago. So you know how people were blown about the people that they saw at the World Cup there in Qatar, the two like people that went viral, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was insane. Now, the only reason I say that was just insane was just the fact that it was just at the peak of the World Cup, which I get that soccer fans are passionate, but they're just as passionate. I compare them as college football fans, very passionate about each fan base, and they're diehards.
You know how many soccer games I have seen?
Let me guess, less than 10.
Not having family members in them. I'm going to preface that because my son, daughter, stuff like that, they were doing soccer as kids. 2.
Dang.
2. One of them was the women's NCAA Division I National Championship game that was in San Jose, where the Earthquakes play at. They were played USC. WVU played USC. That's the reason why I went. The second one, and this goes quite a number of years ago, they had another soccer event there at the Oakland Coliseum, and they had the U.S. Air Force Academy playing. I can't remember. No, it wasn't at the Coliseum. I'm sorry. It was down in San Jose. Of course, at the time I was active duty, and basically they found out who was doing what over the weekend, said, good, you're going down to San Jose to watch it. That's it. I have seen 2. I have paid for one and got into the other for free. That's exactly how many soccer matches I have watched in my entire life, not counting my kids.
Wow. And this is the one thing I enjoy about my show is that I can at least say, like, I've seen some soccer matches in my lifetime where it's like, and I've seen like moments on social media that blew up and, you know, the craziest moments and what fan bases are going crazy. And that's my point, Dan. I was saying, you know, soccer fans are similar to college football fans. The only reason I say it's just like I said, with the passion, the energy, but also just which team they're really rooting for.
Yeah. Now, if you want to get right down to, no, I'm a hockey guy. I watch a ton of hockey.
Well, there's a good sport. There's some good fan bases in hockey too.
Oh yeah, those guys are nuts. I love it. But whenever but like what I was getting to before, you saw the article where, let me see if I can find the other article I had, talking about the.
But let me put out this quick. If you don't know, this is Daniel Gygax in the College Football Mafia. The other Gygax, you can follow him on social media at the other Gygax, and also follow him at the College Football Mafia. They do a lot of great stuff there. And I want to give a big shout out to the College Football Mafia again because I was on last week's edition of Mo After Dark on Sunday.
Yeah. Let me explain what happened. The reason why we don't open up the cameras. We had somebody, and
Moen actually explained to me the situation.
Yeah, he did not have pants or underwear on, and caused us a slight minor issue in the with that show. We had to go back through and try to re-edit it, and then even with re-editing it, we had to just take it down completely. We've got Nate has that phone line. We're trying to get it to where all of us have access, but the problem is Google is being, how can I say it?
A pain in the butt.
Yeah, they're kind of shitty. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is that there is the rumor of the NCAA tournament, more people going into the tournament. Right now it's 68. You've got your 4 games in Dayton, and then the tournament starts. Right now, the NIT is kind of irrelevant anyway, and the NCAA owns the rights to the National Invitational Tournament. So there's rumors that the NIT might go away. They would expand those 32 spots that they have with the NIT, expand them into the national championship tournament, and go from there. I don't like it.
I could honestly agree with you on that.
I don't like it. A lot of it is that now you're let's say you add those 32 that would be NIT teams and they go into let's say your first weekend of games. So instead of the tournament officially starting Thursday with the playing games in Dayton, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're now looking at, let's say one round is in Cleveland, one round is in Charlotte, whatever. You would end up having 4 games at each round for 16. And then wherever they were at. So let's say that you would have 8 teams in Charlotte. You would have 18 teams in like a Cleveland. You would have 8 teams. I'm throwing names out, like a Kansas City, like a Seattle. You get the idea that all these locations where they swap tournament locations every year. So you could do it to where, let's say officially tournament used to start in, let's say, Cleveland on, let's say, Thursday. Well, on that Tuesday, you could have them play 2 games, and wherever else that they have for games, they would have those games played too. Because get right down to it. You've got on that Tuesday and Wednesday between all the sites that you have 16 games, 4 at each site.
Right.
So you would have to come up with a way to get it to work out well.
And you know what? I'm going to say this honestly again. I completely understand where you're coming from, sir. I completely honestly do. Let
me explain why they're even talking about this with the NCAA tournament. The NCAA has to pay close to $1 billion to finish up the House settlement. And the only real bargaining chip that they have that they make a lot of money off of is the men's basketball tournament.
I feel like it was the women's basketball that really, because UConn and now Iowa. The men's basketball, I can say that's a whole nother honest.
ESPN just bought the women's basketball tournament and a bunch of other stuff for a grand total of, I want to say it's 5 years, $185 million. It boiled down to about 30, boiled down to 40 some million bucks a year. So that means that's your men's soccer tournament, that's your women's soccer tournament, that's everything that you're talking about. And that included the women's basketball tournament. The men's tournament, the rights on that per year is somewhere around $250 million. That is paid by Warner Brothers Discovery, who owns Turner, and CBS, which they might be one company in a couple of years. Who knows? It just depends on if Paramount can outbid Netflix. But you get the idea that we're talking about that money that the NCAA makes off of the tournament. These smaller conferences like a Big Sky, a Big West, No, Big Sky's not part of it. Like the Southland Conference, the Big South, the Big West, the West Coast Conference, Big East. They're the ones that are yelling and screaming that they're getting hosed the most. And the reason why is because the NCAA has to take money off the top. And these are
Right.
to pay. They're using basketball money to pay for football.
Mhm.
And these conferences that don't have football, and there's quite a number of them, they're not happy. So I've got to go. I've got like 1,000 things I have to do today. So sorry, I was only on here for a little bit.
Oh no apologies, sir. It's always good to see you, and always I told Mo and I would try to be back on another episode of Mo After Dark because that I will say honestly, Daniel, that episode of the Mo After Dark show exposing North Dakota State fans talking all that smack last week was pretty interesting, that I'll say at least it wasn't something ridiculous.
You want to know something? Um, I didn't hear a single person from North Dakota State say anything. Now,
Really?
very few. And they were more shocked that they were moving into the Mountain West than anything else. Now, Sacramento State, and that's just due to geography, there were a lot of people pointing out, oh, you're wrong, because I said there's no way that Sac State is going to join a FBS conference.
Right. Which, you know,
So,
I mean,
I mean, if the Pac-12 and Mountain West say no, you've got a problem.
mhm.
And they spent $23 million to buy themselves into the MAC for football only. So
They did.
yeah. So I gotta go.
Thanks so much, Daniel. As always, we'll see you later, sir.
Bye.
That's Daniel Gygax, the College Football Mafia, and I want to give him a big shout out again, and everybody at the College Football Mafia a big shout out again. But let me point this out, folks. I think it's pretty obvious that not only Sacramento State fans were running their mouth for, weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and then North Dakota State fans were yipping and yapping for the last couple of weeks, ever since they got moved up to the Mountain West. Okay, well, I could say that, you guys are delusional and, well, completely stupid for saying the stuff you said on social media. Or I could say, North Dakota State fans or South Dakota State, or not South Dakota State fans, Sacramento State fans are just completely delusional. Let alone I would say, if I had to hear Sacramento State fans yipping and yapping like they were going to move into the Pac-12 or the MAC, and then moving into the MAC, it didn't shock me one single dang bit. It did not shock me one single dang bit. But I think Ohio State fans, I think we should all understand the only reason I went off on NDSU State on North Dakota State fans the last week is just because the fact that not only their fan base was talking for a week, and now Sacramento State fans are also yapping out of their teeth or yapping out of their mouths like this is something big and shocking to them that they got moved up to the MAC. It's just mind-boggling that it's not getting under my skin, and let alone North Dakota State fans aren't getting under my skin, but it's just like somebody's got to put them in their place. Because the Mountain West, I will say there are good teams in the Mountain West, but the problem is that when you start getting Mountain West fans talking or AAC fans talking or the group of 6 schools talking and their fan base talking. Like Tulane, like I'll say this past year, Tulane and what was it? The 2 teams that played in the playoffs that were not much of a shocker. Tulane and someone help me out here. Geez. Who was it? You're gonna have to help me here. James Madison. Excuse me, James Madison and Tulane. Like James Madison fans, okay, just because Kurt Signetti was your former head coach, okay, I'll give it to you. But Tulane fans, that's a whole other conversation that I'm gonna have with them for another day. But uh but as far as with what they've got going, I'd say at least they're losing their minds. I think it's pretty more much like Tennessee fans. You know, I say North Dakota State fans are more like the University of Tennessee fans right now because A, they're losing their mind, and B, I said this on another show, another Mountain 80 a couple of days ago on their after hour show, that their fan base is just as delusional as, well, Rocky Top fans, Tennessee fans, who we beat in 2024 and 2025 to 2025 in the college playoff. We beat them 42 to 17. Yeah, that's how bad Tennessee fans were. Generally, I mean, that's how it is, but at the same time, it's just like I said, you got to put them in their place. Like, it's like Georgia fans telling Tennessee fans every time that Tennessee fans start drinking a bottle or two of Jack Daniels of Tennessee whiskey, and it's like, oh, we're gonna beat Georgia. Look at your track record against Georgia the last couple of years. Georgia's beating you every single time. And then they drank too much Jack Daniels when they thought they were going to beat Ohio State. And then that didn't turn out well for Tennessee fans. So I think we can all agree on here that Tennessee has had a bad track record as far as the top 2 teams in the country, let alone, and I'm going to call it right here and right now, and I'm going to say this honestly, North Dakota State fans, they're going to have a bad track record against, Big 10, Big 12, ACC. Uh, uh, I don't know if y'all saw that video of the trying to give a good description of how it is for me. It's like, okay, well, oof, it really is. My God. I'm trying to think of what's going on for what, in the world of college football. It's ridiculous, folks. I'm gonna be just completely straight up honest. Um uh let me also just point this out where it's like, okay, well, uh I told Tennessee fans like, oh, hey, you need to quit running your mouth because it's gonna be awful on your end to see that. Like, it's like I've said it before, or I've said it probably a dozen times or so. Um, Good grief. It's more of trying to think. I'm trying to think of what I was gonna say. Or let me just ask the question here. Are North Dakota State fans delusional as Alabama or Tennessee fans, or am I just crazy for saying that? Because it seems like they say Ohio State fans are crazy, but really, I like to say that we're not crazy. We're just passionate about our program. Let alone it's more of that plus uh, holy cow. I'm trying to think here, folks, because but I dropped the StreamYard link, so if anybody's got any questions, comments, or anything they want to say live, no, my content is uncensored, so you can say whatever the heck you want on here. Just click the link and then come on in and tell me what you're thinking today. I'm honestly taking anybody's calls. But let me find that. Let me find. I'm gonna go to my YouTube page. I would have mentioned something also to you guys also. The fact that that yeah, I've probably said some stupid things on YouTube, but at the same time, oh God, um, trying to think here, folks, of what's going on. And just so anybody's clear, if you had any questions about, somebody mentioned to me about somebody that used to come on my show and trash talk. Well, I shouldn't say it was just me. It was just time. Uh, yeah, Burks and I had some rivals, but that's only because we disagreed on a lot of things in particular. But that was just on that part of that. So the people that were asking about Burks between me and Burks, yeah, I haven't heard from him besides the time we argued the hell out of the point where I lost a lot of energy from arguing. Now, as you guys know, one of my most viral videos blew up on my YouTube channel. The Sunday show where I called out Jackson Johnson of the Voice of College Football Alabama channel. Trying to find that video here for you folks because that one, Lou, probably I'd say that the most exponentially trying to figure it out where the heck I put it. Unless it was one of the lost file videos that I own. Was between a lot of the stuff I post and the um I'm trying to find that dang video. Is it on my I know it's on one of my shows that I did. I'm trying to find it here, folks, because somebody asked me about it and I said, "Oh, I haven't uh I am trying to find that video that went viral of me calling out Jackson Johnson on the Voice of College Football Network. That it went viral for that. Uh, it went viral, but I simply cannot find it. But those videos I do have, but unless it was one of them that I actually got rid of. Just to be completely fair, I've got a lot of videos and I cannot seemingly remember where I put something. Oh.
Just think that. I don't
like Lily.
They say Alabama's overrated, Disney, and I can't stand y'all's BS. Alabama's overrated, Disney, and I can't stand y'all's BS.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the Alabama show that they mocked me. The only reason I called him out for that on that particular case was because it's true. It's literally true. Alabama fans are just as over. Alabama is just as overrated as Disney because they invest a lot of money into what they do, and then majority of the time, a lot of their stuff is full of crap. But at the same time, it's just you want to turn the TV off or you want to change the channel on the TV where it's like, uh, switch the TV to machinery PV. I'd rather see equipment prices than an equipment auction prices over this bull crap. And I can tell you, folks, I've had experience twice, and ugh. But I'm going to tell you that it's really just ridiculous. Like, for what they did, it's just, ugh, ridiculous. It was just stupid. Like, I told Jackson and Johnson and all them at the show.
Turn it into Bama. Oh, getting killed again. Which again, y'all remember the Bama beat? Whoa.
That dude worked over Gravity Falls. Like, I'm literally talking about a cartoon show, right? And she's like saying unsubscribe for Disney Plus, yada yada yada. I'm saying I'm still mad at the fact Disney screwed over the Owl House, not cool to do that. Da 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 da. But then we see Kane the Diesel Freak. He's replied to me saying, Alabama's overrated as Disney, and I can't stand y'all's BS.
Well, it's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. It's a fact. And then NDSU fans, let alone almost talking the same bull crap among their fan base. Yeah. I literally knew that this was happening. Because apparently, people call me crazy for literally calling it what it is. Let alone uh I called it down the middle where it was like, oh, I literally called it down the middle. I literally call it down the dang middle. Uh and like I'm telling you folks, I literally called it the way it was, and I called it down the middle. Literally. Like I don't know if you're gonna tell me otherwise or something else, but I'm just gonna say it as I see it. And as I see it. As I saw fit. Um but it's like I didn't even need to call it down the middle. I literally knew like it was happening. Like I've told the son of a gun Jackson Johnson and Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports. I literally told every single one of their fan base if they wanted to come call me on my own dang show, they could literally do so. And I said it without hesitation. And I said it literally without hesitation. Come on my show anytime. You, Jeffrey, and any other Alabama fan want to come on here and tell me otherwise. Please, for the love of the living Lord, tell me otherwise. Like, are Alabama fans just as terrible as North Dakota State fans? Because it clearly sounds like it, and it clearly looks like that from where I'm standing. And let alone, I'm literally standing on the fact that it's just as terrible. They are literally just as terrible as they are. I mean, I don't have to tell anybody otherwise. Ugh. You know, I don't literally have to say otherwise. Like, do I have to explain it any other way to anybody? No, because it's pretty obvious. like I don't even have to tell anybody otherwise. And here we are. And here we are. Like, I literally called it down the middle. I wouldn't say call it down the middle, but you get where I'm saying here. But you get what I'm saying here, folks. If I had $1 for every time I heard a delusional fan base, so say the fans of Rocky Top or Sweet Home Alabama, and in this case, North Dakota State fans or Go Irish fans, yipping and yapping every single week on the internet, you know, it hurt my brain so bad that I wouldn't even know why they're even talking when I don't even give an absolute crap that they're yipping and yapping all this much, yet their teams are not doing anything during the offseason. Not one single daggone thing. Not one single thing. Like, where's my proof, folks? Where's my proof? Like, does Jackson Johnson and them, are they that terrible? Do they suck? Yeah. Yeah. Are their fan bases delusional? As much as I like to say, yeah. But I could call it down the middle the way I see it, or I could just be called stupid. Someone can tell me otherwise. But I'm not gonna say otherwise, but that's where I stand, folks, and where I but somebody could tell me otherwise. But I'm I don't know. You folks tell me otherwise. How many times I gotta remind stupid fan bases that they're living in their heads because they don't want to look actually in reality of where there's a college football team, said Ohio State Buckeyes. That's been the most dominant team for over a decade. Yet they had a hard time understanding that not only this is the time that Ohio State is let alone going to seek revenge, let alone win back the national championship that Indiana won from them. This is really where it's going to stand for them. And it won't surprise me that Ohio State beats all their schedule and but you know what? Their fan bases can talk, and I'm going to be the one standing over them with the national championship in my, in my eyes. And I'm going to be like, oh, holy cow, this team won, particularly my Ohio State Buckeyes in particular, won the national championship. And I'm calling it here, folks. To everybody that doesn't like me on YouTube, Jackson Johnson, Jeffrey, John Kennedy, Burks, hear me out now if you see this. I am calling it down the middle. Ohio State returns and wins the national championship. They will reclaim the crown, the holy grail of them all, that surely belongs in the 614. And that's the national championship. But if you want to tell me otherwise, go for it. But there's something that you should understand. Don't write checks with your mouth that your rear ends can't cash. Don't, because that's the one thing you should understand is that you do so, and that will lead to, well, said demise. And said demise is, well, in the words of a dear friend of mine, Ian McDermott, I'll leave that to the ears of I'll leave that to the ears of those who know what he says in the next from the old original Star Wars trilogy films. But I think it's probably where even Ohio State fans, if it was possible, the dream match in the national championship would have been Ole Miss, Ohio State, because those are two programs that never met one-on-one in like a bowl game or a national championship. They never met face to face. But somebody can tell me otherwise, and but I think I'll leave it at that because I'm gonna let somebody figure that out. If they know what's gonna be good, that they know that what's coming isn't just the demise of other programs. It's the demise of it's the demise of teams that really need to learn their lesson as far as play elite college football programming. as far as I'm concerned. Because I feel like that's not addressed enough to the point where I say, yeah, somebody needs to get slapped over the head or beat over the head. It's like I said, their fan bases only keep talking. But at the same time, it's you know, at the point where I'm like, yeah, it's time for them to shut up and show up. Because apparently that's something that needs to be addressed. But I think that will be mostly where how do I say this? All right. That's right. Jeez, do I not anything else to say? Oh, speaking of the World Cup, um, a lot of people that were watching the World Cup, especially that uh, that knew what was going on. I literally said this to someone. I literally just said this, and trying to think about where it was. Dang. Is it just me or am I out of things to say? Good grief. But hmm, I guess from here I can just say, well, this is another episode of. This is the returning episode of. the Sunday show, or the Sunday crap show, because all heck breaks loose, and well, I'll call out the dummies if I see fit, and it'll be, well, well, but I was gonna say this, folks. Well, I think I'm just gonna leave it at that and play the one song that I say that compares the fan bases I don't like.
Fearless Lord Texas, man who chased bandit coast to coast. Liberty, justice, now you love us. Where are you, justice, when we need you most?
That's all you do is just say,
Some say you're a lunatic, some say you're a buffoon, some say you're a fool with a gun. You never caught bandit, though you stuck to him like glue. Now who knows you walk away before the job's done? Cause you're Buford T. Justice, fearless law of Texas, man who chased bandit coast to coast. Buford T. Justice, now you've up and left us. Where are you, Justice, when we need you the most? You're a hero to your ego, a legend in your own mind. Serve and protect, that's been your word. But can you stand to sit it out when pride's on the line? And what about bandit? Was the last thing that you heard? You're Buford T. Justice, fearless law of Texas, man who chased bandit coast to coast. Buford T. Justice, now you've up and left us. Where are you, Justice, when we need you the most? Just like some old gray racehorse, you've been put out to graze. They say you're over the hill now, you see you better day. But like that old racehorse, you should still hear that bell. And a hot chase from heaven, and a good life in hell. Well, you took on all those outlaws and the weirdos with the hair. You stood for law and order all the way. Now you're standing on your record, but does anybody care? You're still on that fool that big one getaway. Cause you're Buford T. Justice, fearless law of Texas, the man who chased the bandit coast to coast. Buford T. Justice, now you've up and left us. Where are you, Justice, when we need you most? Where are you, Justice, when we need you most? Where are you, Justice, when we need you most?
Like I tell you, folks, sometimes I just need to get the energy. Hey, sometimes I just say, oh well. Or I'm just crazy. Somebody can tell me otherwise. But you know what? By God, I love what I do. All the stupid fan bases and all their delusional, dumb, stupid fans. Yeah. It's really something. Oh, it's really just amazing. Let alone all the joy of it. I can say that this is just as crazy as delusional fan bases calling me stupid. Really? Really? I cannot tell you otherwise, folks. Why? I cannot. But I will say this. If you want to know my complete honest opinion, yeah, you heard it here. Of course, when it starts with the other ones, oh, Lord. But I'll leave it at that, folks. With that, good night, good evening, and I will see you guys next week. Catch you on Long After Dark, by the way. Peace.